Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Trips Paranormal. I'm your host, Ryan. Just want to give you guys a few updates on what's getting ready to happen in the probably the next couple of weeks. First of all, I hope everybody enjoyed the Valentine's Day special from a few days ago. That was a really fun experience. It was a very chilly vibe over there, but it was still a fun experience to say the least. Once again, I hope everybody enjoyed that little special. Unfortunately, I kind of was asked to leave the area after only about 15 minutes. Apparently, talking to a box kind of scares people, so the Chicago PD did ask me to leave the area. So hopefully, maybe the next time I go, I'll have something more official than just saying, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this." But that's for another time. Uh, an update on few weeks ago, I went to the first annual Paracon here in Northwest Indiana. I hyped myself up for kind of something that it wasn't. I'm not going to dog on the event. Me personally, it wasn't what I was looking for, but the overall experience, it was fun to a point. I did meet some other investigators. I did talk with some people, so hopefully, maybe we could get the name out there a little bit more. Uh, do have two investigations that are going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. As I did explain in our last meeting, I'll be going to the site of the SS Eastland, hopefully, probably maybe next week or so, trying to see what we can find over there. The other investigation that I just started researching that is of real interest to me was a circus train accident in 1918 that happened in Hammond, Indiana. Now, a little background on that one. It was owned and operated by the Hagenbeck Wallace Circus of the Midwest. It was considered the third largest circus in the Midwest, and it was actually very comparable to P.T. Barnum's circus. The Hagenbeck Wallace Circus was considered the third largest circus in the U.S. at that time. Um, at the time of the incident, the circus was traveling from Michigan City, where it had just got done doing two shows, and it was on its way to Hammond. The circus owned and operated two different trains to carry its performers, its animals, everything that you needed to run a circus. And the first train, it arrived in Hammond, no problem. But the second train, uh, it had what was called a hot box. And essentially, what that was is where the train wheels are at, there is a bearing there. The bearing sits inside of a box, it started overheating. Because the train cars are made out of wood, a hot bearing box could be disastrous. So the train had to pull over into a siding to go ahead and try to fix this problem. As it pulled into the siding, it left the last five cars of the train on the main line. And at some time in the morning, it shows about 4 o'clock in the morning, a empty passenger train that was traveling to the East Coast with that had just gotten done going to the East Coast with soldiers from for the war or the war effort, because at that time we were still in World War One. That train slammed into the back of this circus train at speeds that were estimated between 25 and 60 miles an hour. Now, that's for trains of that time, that was extremely fast. It's estimated that 86 people were killed and over 100 were injured. The bodies were buried at the nearby Woodland Cemetery over in Chicago. Now, I don't know a whole lot about what has happened with other investigators with this particular incident. Um, some investigators have said that they could hear screams. Some have said that they've heard the animals from the train, even though the animals were actually on the first train. that arrived safely. So there's a lot of conflicting evidence on what other investigators have heard or have seen. Other investigators have gone out there and said they've had absolutely nothing happen. So it's a investigation that I do want to do. I want to see what I can find for myself. The Eastland is another one. Like I said, that one's gonna be done hopefully probably the next week or two. I really, really want to do this one because it is, for all intents and purposes, the Titanic of the Midwest or the Titanic of the Great Lakes. It's a major shipwreck that has literally disappeared with the ages. It's something that happened right here in our own backyard, and it needs to be remembered with more than just a plaque on the Chicago River. It's something that should be talked about. It's something that should be remembered for all time. And I'm hoping by doing this investigation and talking with people potentially that those people that survived and also those people that perished on the Eastland are remembered. Um, as of right now, these are the two main things that are going on. The other thing that I want to remind people is I am a qualified paranormal or a qualified parapsychologist, and these podcasts aren't just to talk about investigations or what I have found. These podcasts are also for you, the viewer, to ask me questions. I may not have all the answers. I may not even know the right answer, but I can kind of point you in the right direction. So if you have questions about the paranormal, if you have something that is on your mind about the great beyond, as you might want to call it, ask me. I want to talk to you. I'm ready to believe you. If you have your own paranormal experiences, tell me about them. I'm ready to believe you. Once again, this is Ryan. This is Trips Paranormal. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't done so already, please go ahead, hit that little bell down there in the corner, subscribe. Also, subscribe to my Instagram page as well. It's the exact same name as this YouTube channel, Trips Paranormal. It's capital Trips with periods in between each letter. Watch, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Thanks a lot, everyone.